All right, my teaching assistant Yoda is going to help us out on understanding how to go about interpreting changes in supply and demand using a graph. So let's take a look at the example he has come up with. All right, let's take a look at the market for N95 face masks after the COVID-19 pandemic occurs. So notice Yoda has already started drawing a graph, so we're looking at the market for N95 masks, and he's already set up price on the vertical axis, quantity on the horizontal axis. We have supply and demand. Let's go ahead and put our initial equilibrium. I always like to put an A there so that I will remember where I started out. And I'm going ahead and identifying my first price and my first quantity. Now if I look at my instructions, I've already completed step 1. Now I've got to decide whether this is something that would affect supply, affect demand. There are some rare circumstances where maybe both of these would be affected, but we're going to go after the most obvious one right now, and that is that a lot of people started going after those N95 face masks. If you went to Home Depot, the shelves were just wiped out. I know my friends who are in construction and painting and whatnot began to have some problems because of this. So we did see an increase in demand. All right, so that completes step 2. And now what I need to do is to take this increase in demand and show it on my graph. All right, what's happened now is that demand has increased, so that means I need to draw a new demand curve to the right. So I'm going to call that creatively D2. I've got a new place where lines are crossing, a new equilibrium. That's going to be point B. A new price. And a new quantity. All right, so that completes step 3, and now step 4, I'm supposed to write out what happens to price, to quantity, and whether this is a change in quantity supplied or quantity demanded. So I think the first two are pretty apparent. When we move from point A to point B, we're moving up along the vertical axis, so we know price increases. If I come down here in the horizontal axis where I'm measuring quantity, all right, I see I've moved to the right, so my quantity increases. The really tricky part here, and what's going to drive some of you bananas on the first celebration of knowledge, is whether this is a change in quantity supplied or quantity demanded. I don't care how well you want to argue this, it is what it is. In this case, we've moved from one point on the supply curve to a new point on the supply curve. Again, both of these points are on the same supply curve, so this is how I know it is an increase in quantity supplied. Again, moving from one point on the supply curve to another point on the supply curve. Increase in quantity supplied. So there you go. This is what you need to be able to do on each and every one of these problems. Thank you for your support.